for Katrina Gorry. Here she is hitting that! And Charlie Grant has her first ever Matilda's goal.
Welcome to Green and Gold with 10 News First, showing you the other side of the FIFA Women's World Cup right here in Australia. We'll bring you all the weird and wonderful news and keep you updated on all things World Cup. To kick things off, let's bring in 10 football expert Robbie Thompson to answer all of your burning football questions in 3 kicks.
So I'm here with 10 Football's lead commentator Robbie Thompson for 3 kicks with Green and Gold. Robbie, how are you?
I'm very well, excellent. Enjoying a fantastic month of football in this country.
So Denmark, Australia, it seems as if Denmark had us on the back foot a bit. Is that what you saw, and is that something we want to take through to the quarterfinals?
Well, ideally, no. Ideally, in the quarterfinals, we'll demolish our opposition from the start. But look, it was knockout football. It was in front of a huge crowd. Australia were favourites against a Denmark side that are back on the top stage for the first time in 16 years and really had nothing to lose against Australia. I think the pressure was on Australia, and perhaps that showed in the first 20 minutes when Denmark really threw everything at them. But I think if there's one thing this Matildas side has, it's a newfound or tactical maturity. They're sure of themselves, they're confident, and in the end they weathered that early storm and were able to show what they could do on the counter-attack. And I think overall Tony Gustafsson will be very happy that his individuals shined at the right time, and confidence must be sky high in the camp.
For sure. So we noticed also, USA losing to Sweden in penalties, England almost losing to Nigeria in penalties too, and Germany not even making it through the group stages. Some of the pre-tournament favourites there, they're dropping like flies. Are we expecting to see more of that in the coming days?
Well, Australia are one of the favourites now, so we'll see what happens in the matches still to come, but look, this has been one of the great surprises of this World Cup, one of the joys of this World Cup, and I think it shows the progress of women's football as well from 4 years ago when the United States in France in 2019 came into the tournament red-hot favourites and just swept everyone aside. There was never really any doubt that they were going to win the whole thing. There was the USA and the rest. What's been so special about this tournament is not that the favourites like Germany, who were eliminated at the group stage, or Brazil, who went out in the group stage as well, or that England were forced all the way, or the USA went out to Sweden. It's not that the favourites have come back to the field, it's that the rest of the field has come up. We had 3 African sides in the last 16 for the first time in the competition's history. Asian sides going through. Japan look back to their best. There are so many sides that have lifted their game, and it shows the progress, the professionalism, the athleticism, the tactics, the organisation and the discipline of these sides is just taking the women's game to the next level.
So Australia to face France in the quarterfinals. We saw Sam Kerr come on late in the game just for a little bit of a run against Denmark. We expect to see more of her, and how are we going to go against France?
I think we can expect to see a whole lot more of Sam Kerr. She came through that with flying colours. We saw her contesting headers, accelerations, shots at goal, everything that if you're a little bit unsure of your calf muscle, you just don't do. So that was very confidence building for her, for the team, and for us fans as well, watching the game. As for taking on France, well, we played them on the 14th of July in our final warm-up game. Perhaps they were a little bit jet-lagged, perhaps they weren't really sure what to expect either, but that was a very confident Australia side in front of 50,000 down in Melbourne. I think the French have a weakness. It's in the mentality. Perhaps their new coach, Hervé Renard, has tried to turn that around a little bit, but they've never really performed. If they've made it to the quarterfinals, they've only once made it into the semis, taken that next step. Same goes for Australia, but this Matilda side, like I said before, in terms of the confidence in the maturity they're showing, I think they can take anyone now and set up a massive semi-final clash, possibly with England, which would be enormous for the game here. And why not go all the way now? Once you're in the final 8 teams, anyone can win it.
Great way to answer that. And just before we go, can we go all the way? Can we win it? And if not, who is going to win it?
The Matildas can win this, absolutely. But once you're into this knockout stage, we saw, the USA could have been knocked out of the group stage for the width of the post when Portugal hit the post in the last minute. The Sweden penalty that was 2 millimetres over the line, perhaps less, 1 millimetre over the line, that knocked out the United States of America. These are the fine margins that decide these matches now. If you're into the last 8, if you're into the semi-finals, anyone can win it. The Matildas are most certainly in that, and perhaps a huge crowd in Sydney for the quarterfinal, for the semi-final, possibly against England, and all the way to the final. I mean, it's those little things, and a crowd can just give you that extra inch, that extra little bit of energy, that extra bit of motivation to go all the way.
Well, just for the record, I'm backing him too. Robbie, thank you very much for joining us today.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you.
So do you think you're up to speed on all things football now? Well, let's put your skills to the test with our trivia question for the week. What's the highest attendance for a FIFA Women's World Cup match? 54,027, 75,784, 90,185, or 103,555? Make sure you stick around for the end of this episode to find out. Our passion for the Matildas is at an all-time high, so we visited live sites around the country before, during and after our match against Denmark to find out how proud Australia is of the Matildas for making it this far.
Oh my god.
So proud. I'm actually shaking right now. I'm so excited for
I can't wait to see Sam play. It's crazy.
Yeah, we're very excited. Go Matildas, we love you so much.
love you.
Thank you for
I
being
wanna
our
be you.
inspirations. I kind of want to play football now.
Thank you.
Oh look, no doubt the atmosphere in Melbourne last Monday, even without Sam Kerr, I thought the performance was probably the best I've ever seen him play, to be honest with you. He was really that good, and hopefully we can produce something similar tonight. Not really good message. I'm just wearing my lucky socks. My little Billy, he's my little dog at home. I wore him last week, so hopefully that'll help us as a superstition get over the line tonight.
So what do you think of that game out?
Absolutely beautiful. 2-0. Games. Absolutely amazing goals. Just beautiful. Up the Matildas.
And how exciting was that being here? Were you singing loud?
Yep, of course you gotta go to Matildas.
And what do you reckon? Are we going to win the World Cup or what?
Yes, what do you think?
Oh man, I reckon we can go all the way, and I reckon it'll do awesome things for women's football in Australia, and just for football in general.
We're winning the World Cup.
Oh yeah, of course. We're getting a public holiday. It's happening. All over it.
And who's your favourite player?
Mary Fowler.
Mary Fowler. You got the Sam Kerr shirt on.
I know. Yeah, I lost my voice. Matildas actually played really well. Sam Kerr, the coach actually put Sam Kerr on, which is a good thing for us. Didn't score a goal though, but overall, the Matildas got the job done, 2-0. That's what we want, and we're in the quarterfinals, which is a good thing. So, here, it's just unreal. For me to come here, it's my first time coming here. I mean, I've been here before to go for the Twilight Showdown March, but not here to watch the Matildas play. And yeah, the atmosphere was absolutely incredible. Everyone was just going for the Matildas. It was absolutely unreal.
Wow, that's some great passion out there. But one group might take the cake as Australia's biggest supporters. Meet the Supporteroos. They're a bunch of Aussies who get together to play friendlies against the supporters of other nations' football teams. They recently took on Canadian fans, so we decided to check it out.
Hey guys, we're down here in Melbourne for a pretty special match for the FIFA Women's World Cup involving Australian and Canadian football supporters. They're taking part in a match against a local university football team here today. Let's go check it out. Can you tell me about the Supporteroos, how it all got started? What was the inspiration behind it?
Yeah, it all started in 2018 in Russia. I'm originally from Russia. I've been living here since 2006, and I thought going to my home country, I wanted to do something special for my Aussie friends. So I just created an event on Facebook, invite people to come, and 26 people showed up in Kazan on that day. On our side, we had a 12-year-old, a 64-year-old, people from all over Australia. So people enjoyed so much, we decided to keep on going. So in Russia, we played 11 games. And then the following year, we went to France and did another 7 games in France. There was one match when we had 24 women out of 27, 28 players. So that was really good to see.
What brought me here today was that the Canadian Supporters Group, the Voyageurs, advertised that Canadian fans were playing against the Aussie fans in a friendly. And we looked at the map and we figured we could walk all the way here from our hotel, and here we are. We thought we might be able to meet some Australian fans in a little bit more friendly environment than we're going to see them on Monday night.
We play some real football with the like the Canadian fans, just to foster like friendships, global friendships, international, with like the wider community of like the great game that we all play.
I met Peter many years ago on a street, Swan Street in Richmond, at an A-League game. We've been friends ever since, and I knew about these initiatives. And then, obviously having the World Cup in our backyard is a great chance to come play. I haven't played for about 15 years, but it's just for fun. As you said, meeting like fans from across the world and celebrating the real world game.
It's a wonderful story, and even what you see today playing out here, it sort of shows you what grassroots and sort of localized sport can do. Because originally we wanted to get together and see the Australian and Canadian team play each other, and we ended up finding here another 11 University of Melbourne students, and then just decided ad hoc, that no one should miss out and we should probably play each other. So it just, I think, illustrates, what a beautiful initiative it actually is.
And through football, you make relationships very quickly. I studied in the States, I always organize teams there, came to Australia. First thing I do, wherever I am, I look for a football club, football team. And this is the experience I want to share with others, and that's why I've been organizing this game.
What's the experience been like?
It's been really fun. It's been awesome to see people of like all different backgrounds, all different ages, all different nationalities come together and just like support the beautiful game, which has been really fun.
How about you? What's the experience been like?
Really fun to play soccer.
And sorry?
She's doing really well.
Yeah, I saw. She's rocking.
And since I was a kid, I was following football, mixed race. I think it's I grew up in a small country town, so it's one of those things that united me to my kind of countries from my family. But ever since I've followed it, you just immediately find friends. Like I always say, you can wear a football jersey anywhere in the world and someone will have a conversation with you, and you can't say that of any other sport.
The thing that equalizes all is that round ball that we all have a passion for, regardless of the background that we have, or whether it's cultural or socioeconomic, etc. So it's a wonderful sport. And just thinking back at my life, there have been tons of moments like this where just ad hoc something wonderful happens, and you just get together with people that you have no clue about or no idea who they are, and you ended up enjoying a 90 minutes of football game.
Knowing that, the World Cup, it has, sort of been in your own backyard as well. What does that do for football back at home once you've hosted an event like that?
Yeah, I found in 2015 it had a lot more to do with grassroots. So we went up to a game in Edmonton, and it was just full of teams, boys and girls teams, that would billet with local families and go to the games. So I found it was it had more an effect on grassroots soccer and getting kids inspired.
You've been to Russia, you've been to France. Having a World Cup now in your own backyard, what's that like?
I think it's just so many more people around you are involved, even those who weren't really fans or like casually followed football. It's on mainstream media all the time, and like yesterday we were in the street with my daughter. She had a Sam Kerr jersey, and this random person came over and, oh, have you heard that she's going to play? And it's a unifying experience. Make more relationships, and it's a good feeling to be part of the World Cup.
Network 10 presenter Nerelda Jacobs spoke to Australian Tanya Oxtoby. She's Chelsea FC's women's assistant coach and works with Sam Kerr every day. Let's see how she's finding the World Cup on home soil.
Welcome home, Tanya. How exciting has the World Cup been?
Yeah, it's been great. It's been maybe 6 or 7 years since I left. So to be back home and be a part of what is an amazing tournament, to see the growth and all the support's been mind-blowing, really.
I mean, the support, the crowds, the tens of thousands of people pouring into stadiums, it must just be unreal.
It's something that I never really imagined. Obviously, I left a long time ago to, sort of challenge myself and pursue other things, but coming back, like the noise from the last Matildas game was just mind-blowing and deafening, to be honest.
Let's talk a little bit about your career. So you were born in Wickham in the Pilbara of WA, a town of 3,000 people, is that right?
Yeah, really small, yeah.
And then you found your way playing for Perth Glory in around 2008, and then left.
Well done, yeah,
nice. Thank you. Until 2012.
Yes,
is that
correct.
Right?
Yep.
And then you went overseas to play.
I did, yeah. I went over to England and I played sort of 2 seasons over there. 1.5. Let's call it 1.5. I just wanted to challenge myself. It was at the end of my career, and I just thought, well, if I don't do it now, I'm never going to do it.
Do you feel like you've got to go overseas for career progression as an Australian footballer?
I feel like now. A little bit, because I think if you want to play at the highest level and you want a high number of games and you want the wraparound support, Europe and America have got that. I feel like the game here is probably still a little bit behind in that sense, and also for the coaches as well. You know, you think about the full-time roles that are around, you know, especially for me when I finished playing, there wasn't really any. So, you know, for me, Europe is now home. I'd love to come back, but, you know, the opportunities aren't there.
Well, you came back for a little while to coach at Perth Glory, and then you went overseas again, and now you're at Chelsea, assistant coach at Chelsea. You've got 3 FA Cups under your belt.
I know, who would have ever
thought? The first one came after you started.
Yeah.
So you've brought the FA Cup to
Is that
Chelsea.
okay, yeah, we'll claim that, Yeah. No, look, I had this conversation with my dad a lot, to be honest, about, you know, things like that, and we're both just sat there just going, how on earth did this happen? It's been such a journey, and 3 FA Cups, like some people don't even win 1, and to have 3 is just, you know, you got to pinch yourself at times.
So you're probably the closest Australian to Sam Kerr in the UK.
I'll take that, yeah.
So does that give you a little bit of insight as to where Sam's at going into the knockout game tonight?
I'd like to say it does, but no, probably not. I think when you're in that camp environment, you know, they're fully focused, and I hope we see her at this tournament. I think for the country it'd be great, but on the flip of that, we've seen some heroes come to the fore, and you know, the performance in the last game was sensational, and everyone was talking about that rather than the Sam Kerr injury, and that's what we want. We want to build, you know, a legacy, if you like, for the whole team.
You're also, I have another hat, you're an advisory member for the National Indigenous Advisory Group, which we're both on together.
Yep.
And part of that, the work of the advisory group was negotiating with FIFA to be able to fly the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander flag. That must be great to see at all the FIFA
It's a
matches.
proud movement, right? Like, to see the acknowledgement. You know, I look at the welcome to country and all the stuff that's going on, and it fills me with so much pride, and things have changed a lot since I left, and there's a long way to go, but those steps are starting to come into place, and yeah, it's fantastic.
It's wonderful. Well, look, I'm ready for
You
the knockout
are,
game.
yeah.
I don't know if this says fan enough, so
What else have you got?
Well, I've got some other things.
Nice.
Yes, I've got my scarf here. I've been sitting on it, so I'm not going to offer it to you to wear, but I've also got my beanie. So look,
You're ready
I'm
to
ready.
go. You're ready to go. I
So
love it. I
come
love
on,
it.
Matildas, we can do it.
And it's time for the answer to our trivia question now. 90,185 is the highest attendance at a FIFA Women's World Cup ever. That was the 1999 final between the USA and China at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena. And the Matildas are through to the quarter-final after an unbelievable 2-0 win over Denmark. Just moments after the game, our reporter Bence Hammerley spoke to a few of the Matildas.
It was really heartwarming, of course. It makes you feel good, and I know how much the Australian public loves the Matildas, and we love playing in front of them, and hopefully they're, you know, they love us as much as we love them, because we really do it for them, and the love we feel over the last 3 weeks has been amazing, and it's amazing to be on this journey.
Obviously my job is to create and score goals, and yeah, just pleased to be able to do that tonight, and want to keep building on the momentum. And yeah, I mean, it was incredible to be able to do that here in my hometown.
Is that about the best assist you've come up with? That was a beautiful pass to Caitlin.
Yeah, it was nice. You know, I think those moments, sometimes they come off, sometimes they don't. Need a bit of luck with that. But yeah, it was a good run from her and a great finish in the end.
Pretty special against Canada, scoring my first goal in a World Cup, and then to come out here again and do it tonight was amazing. But just whatever job I can do for the team is important, and I was happy to get on the score sheet again tonight.
And that's it for this episode of Green and Goal. Make sure you tune in next week for more Cup fun. Go the Tillies!